John Doe struggles, his face contorted in a pained expression as he sweats profusely and grips his dark blue clothing. Still reeling from his nightmare, John Doe sits up in bed, covered in sweat and looking disoriented, while Seraphina's purple hair rests beside him. John Doe rests peacefully in bed, gently hugging a teddy bear, his expression serene. John looks thoughtful, his eyes reflecting concern, and pauses in contemplation, perspiration showing. After his nightmare, John Doe stands at the sink, quietly washing his hands, seemingly trying to compose himself. John Doe splashes water on his face, trying to clear his head after the intense nightmare. John, still drenched in sweat, gazes at his reflection in the mirror, his face a mix of exhaustion and lingering fear after his nightmare. John's face is contorted in a strained, angry expression, with sweat beading on his skin as he glares intensely, still grappling with his inner turmoil. Still drenched in sweat, John Doe closes his eyes, clenching his jaw as he continues to grapple with his intense inner turmoil. John Doe, still recovering from his nightmare, begins to pull on a brown hoodie, preparing to face the day after his restless night. John Doe's eyes glow with a new intensity, his expression now firm and resolute as he stares ahead. While John Doe lies in bed, Remy sleeps soundly in a bunk bed, clutching a teddy bear, unaware of his turmoil. After his intense nightmare, John Doe walks alone down a dark street, his hands in his pockets, a subtle blush on his face. John approaches a brightly lit convenience store at night, its 24/7 sign glowing above the entrance. After his walk, John Doe sits on the ground, eating a wrapped sandwich. A subtle blush remains on his face as he takes a bite, illuminated by the city lights. John Doe, still out at night, takes a quiet moment, his eyes reflecting a subtle unease as he pauses. He reaches into a white plastic bag, rustling it open to reveal a glimpse of something yellow, green inside. Seraphina sleeps peacefully in her bed, clutching a teddy bear. She remains unaware of John Doe's recent turmoil. The girl lies in bed, a teddy bear beside her. Seraphina slowly sits up in bed, rubbing her eyes sleepily, a teddy bear resting beside her as she begins to wake. John Doe looks off to the side with a serious, contemplative expression, his brow slightly furrowed. John crouches on the floor, looking distressed and clutching his stomach as a dark puddle forms beneath him. Seraphina watches him from behind. John looks down, his messy black hair obscuring his eyes, a somber expression settling on his face as he appears lost in thought. She smiles gently, holding a teddy bear as she looks forward. John Doe stands at Seraphina's doorway, holding a white bag and smiling gently as Seraphina turns her purple hair towards him. John smiles widely, looking at the girl, who now sits up on her bed with her teddy bear. John Doe and Seraphina share a quiet moment at the kitchen table, both pausing. Seraphina holds a wrapped food item, looking off to the side with a serious expression while still at the kitchen table. John Doe continues eating his meal, holding the wrapped food item. A subtle smile plays on his lips as his messy black hair obscures his eyes. Seraphina looks at John with concern, asking if something is bothering him, but John, eating, cuts her off, insisting he is fine. John Doe eats his meal, his expression shifting from obscured to... She stares intently, pausing, her expression serious and perhaps a little annoyed. John Doe sits alone at the table, his back to the viewer, letting out a heavy sigh as he appears to be lost in thought. Seraphina stands before a green door, her face obscured, holding the teddy bear retrieved for her. Then, Seraphina continues to stare intently, her expression serious as she holds chopsticks over a dish, seemingly focused on her meal. Without warning, Seraphina stands outside, holding a small object, with her teddy bear peeking from her bag as she seems to be waiting. Remy, carrying a purple bag, opens a dorm room door, while the girl is visible inside. Seraphina looks on with a serious expression, her purple and green streaked hair framing her face as someone calls out to her. She stares forward, her face etched with intense frustration. Inside the dorms, Serafina hurries past, carrying a bag, while the student stands with their back turned. Remy looks intensely annoyed, her brows furrowed, as she peers out from behind a doorway in her pink, heart, patterned top. The girl looks furious, her face contorted in anger as she confronts someone. Remy looks intensely annoyed, her brows still furrowed, as she glares forward with a stern expression. The girl shouts, reaching out towards Serafina, who stands with her back turned, her purple and yellow, green hair visible. They look surprised, a sweat drop on their cheek indicating concern. Serafina stands in a doorway, her eyes glowing with a rainbow light, as the student looks on with a surprised expression. The girl is pinned against the wall, looking distressed and unable to move, while Serafina's pink heart, patterned top is visible nearby. Serafina speaks intently to Elaine. Serafina looks surprised, their eyes obscured by bangs, as the girl stands beside them. The girl remains pressed against the wall, her face now blank and her eyes obscured, showing a dazed state. At that moment, the girl slumps against the wall, her face hidden by her bangs, clearly overwhelmed by the intense situation. Moments later, the girl sits on the floor, facing an open doorway as a distinct click sounds. Serafina carefully unpacks a light blue top from a shopping bag, looking down intently as other clothes are spread on the bed. A hand with dark nail polish hovers over a vibrating smartphone, indicating an incoming notification or call. A beat later, Serafina, wearing a heart, patterned shirt, holds a book while her other hand reaches into a shopping bag, continuing to sort through her items. At that moment, Serafina sits, her long purple hair with yellow streaks visible, engrossed in reading a book while wearing a casual pink top with hearts. Moments later, Serafina, wearing a pink off, the shoulder top carefully. Arlo appears, flashing a confident smile and greeting Serafina with a casual, "Hey," as an off-panel voice acknowledges him. Serafina looks annoyed, her purple hair with yellow streaks framing her face, as she sharply rejects the boy's compliment about her appearance. At that moment, Serafina presses her hand against a surface, her purple hair with yellow streaks visible as she prepares to push. Arlo pins Serafina against the wall with his arm, a sly smile on his face. Serafina crosses her arms, looking unimpressed by his confident demeanor. The boy kneels in a doorway, extending a hand toward Remy, whose pink hair is visible as he continues speaking. Serafina, with a sly smile, pushes against a doorframe, trapping a surprised and flustered Arlo on the other side. She looks intently to the side, her purple hair with yellow streaks framing her face as she wears her familiar pink heart, patterned top. Arlo looks intently to the side, his expression serious and a bead of sweat on his cheek, indicating his concern. Serafina, in her pink off, the shoulder top, looks surprised and slightly annoyed, questioning her, while holding onto a doorframe. Arlo turns his gaze towards the viewer, a confident smirk playing on his lips, while a small sweat drop remains on his cheek. The girl, with her distinct purple hair and yellow streaks, looks contemplative, her hand gently touching her chin as she ponders. Arlo sports a sly smirk, his blonde hair visible as he seems to be contemplating something with a hint of mischief. Remy looks intently forward, a finger resting near her mouth in contemplation. Arlo offers a confident smirk, his blue eyes gleaming as he looks slightly to the side, assuring someone he'll take care of everything. A sleek, white high-speed train with an orange stripe speeds across a green landscape, its motion blurring the surroundings. Remy smiles at her phone while standing in a subway car, as Blake holds a strap, also checking his device. Other passengers relax around them. The girl rests peacefully, her eyes closed and a calm expression on her face. She appears to be sleeping soundly. Blake, wearing a black tank top and earbuds, looks to the side with a serious expression, still riding the subway. Serafina looks intently at her phone with a serious, slightly furrowed expression, clearly focused on its screen while still on the train. Arlo looks directly at the viewer, a confident, almost sly smirk playing on his lips, his eyes gleaming with an intense gaze. Blake, Arlo, Serafina, and Remy stand together outdoors, looking towards the foreground. Arlo crosses his arms. Arlo smirks confidently at a skeptical girl, while Blake stands partially visible to his side. She stares intently, a stern expression on her face. Arlo takes center stage with a confident smile, while Blake stands beside him. Remy and a girl are visible in the background. Remy glares intensely, her eyes narrowed and looking stern, as she reacts to a lie. A beat later, Arlo looks ahead with a confident smirk, walking alongside the pink-haired Remy. Cecile looks intensely to the left, her eyes narrowed and jaw clenched as she speaks of a turf war. Cecile looks forward sternly and focused, her hair flowing around her shoulders. He glares intensely, a small sweat drop indicating his underlying tension. Arlo, with a subtle smile and crossed arms, converses with Serafina, whose face is obscured as she looks on. At that moment, Arlo smiles confidently at someone off panel, while Blake and Remy and Serafina stand behind him in the open field. Serafina stares forward, her eyes narrowed sternly. Ventus looks thoughtful, trying to recall where he's heard the name Serafina before, his eyes narrowed in concentration. Without warning, Ventus's eyes widen in sudden shock, a sweat drop appearing as he finally realizes the name Serafina. Remy and the girl and Holden are violently thrown backward by an unseen force, their bodies contorting from the impact. Ventus is sent flying through the air, while Serafina looks on in visible distress, questioning the power that instantly defeated their entire roster. Serafina's eye glows with an intense blue light, a powerful purple aura emanating as she activates her ability, her expression focused and determined. Ventus's eyes widen, his brow furrowed in intense concentration, a sweat drop forming on his forehead as he struggles to recall the name. Arlo grins, suggesting they get started, while Serafina raises her hand with a wary expression. Blake stands with his back to the viewer, facing Ventus, who appears dazed in the vast sandy expanse. Ventus dashes forward with intense speed, his eyes glowing with determination as he enters the fray. Blake is sent sliding across the ground, a blast of energy impacting near him, while the student rushes past at high speed. He activates his ability, his hands glowing with intense red energy as beams surge across his body, ready for combat. Blake unleashes a powerful red energy blast from his extended arm, while John warns not to let John get close. Ventus' eye widens dramatically, radiating intense focus as he reacts to the situation, his hand raised in a defensive posture. Blake's outstretched hand emits a powerful red energy blast, sending the boy soaring high into the clear sky. Then, Blake crouches low, propelling himself forward with bursts of red energy from his hands and feet, a determined look on his face. A beat later, Blake's red energy collides with the blue blur, creating a powerful impact. Ventus screams out, his eyes glowing with intense teal energy as he reacts to a powerful impact or overwhelming force. Blake's intense gaze remains fixed, his glowing eyes burning with determination as a bead of sweat rolls down his face. His powerful energy blast detonates, creating a massive explosion that engulfs John in a shower of debris. John's eyes glow with activated power as he reacts with a surprised, intense expression to the attack. Blake's chest glows intensely with red energy, radiating outward with powerful force as his eyes burn with fierce determination. Cecile unleashes a powerful red energy beam from her hands, striking the ground and causing it to slide towards John. Blake's determined expression remains, his teal eyes glowing powerfully as sweat streaks his face from the exertion. John's activated power erupts in a blinding red flash, radiating immense force as cracks appear around the intense energy. Without warning, John is sent flying backward, propelled by a powerful force from his leg as he grimaces with intense effort. At that moment, John's face contorts in a grimace of pain and effort, sweat beading as he endures a powerful impact. The blue-haired opponent's leg is severely injured and covered in blood, appearing twisted from the powerful impact as he cries out in agony. Serafina looks on with a determined expression, lines of stress visible near their eye. The blue-haired opponent lands hard on one knee in the sand, bracing himself as the other student remains poised. A powerful leg slams into the ground, causing a violent splash. The attacker's lower leg shows a red glow and some blood from the intense impact. Blake unleashes twin red energy blasts from his hands, propelling a powerful impact towards the rapidly moving opponent. Without warning, Blake's energy blasts violently strike, creating powerful impacts that send debris flying from the unseen target. At that moment, Blake's powerful red energy blasts continue to erupt, creating a massive impact with debris flying around the intense explosion. The injured fighter continues to move quickly, their legs showing more blood as they push through the impact. Then, the blue-haired opponent, eyes narrowed, raises his hand, maintaining his intense focus during the battle. Blake reels back, struck directly in the chest by a powerful red energy blast from John. Blake, eyes glowing with fierce determination, unleashes a barrage of red energy blasts, challenging his opponent to dodge the attack. John grimaces in pain, realizing he cannot avoid the attack due to his injured, glowing leg. John unleashes another powerful red energy blast, with blood splattered on the ground from the ongoing fight. The student glares intensely, his brow furrowed in frustration, a bead of sweat visible on his temple as he reacts to the ongoing battle. The boy looks on with a nervous expression, a sweat drop visible on his cheek, as he watches someone or something off panel. Cecile appears, her determined expression conveying she's taking charge. He scowls intensely, his expression filled with anger and frustration as he processes the situation. Cecile continues to walk forward, instructing someone to get their leg healed, as Ventus watches nervously. Moments later, Cecile declares she will take charge, her determined expression unwavering. Moments later, Blake, with his red hair, executes a powerful toss, sending two glowing red projectiles hurtling forward with incredible speed. Cecile unleashes a powerful, glowing attack, her body blurring with intense speed and energy. Blake's red hair glows intensely as his ability remains fully active, showing the powerful energy emanating from him. Without warning, Blake watches intensely, his glowing eyes and expression strained as he pushes his hand to his forehead. Glowing red projectiles forcefully strike Cecile's powerful attack, resulting in a brilliant, explosive collision of energy. Cecile's eyes gleam with fierce determination, her face set as she pushes forward with her attack. The powerful attack continues, creating a blur of intense blue energy and speed, leaving streaks of light in its wake. Cecile channels immense blue energy into a sweeping attack, as a figure is caught in a powerful red impact in the distance. Blake, with his red hair, unleashes a focused attack, firing twin red energy beams that collide with a powerful blue force. The powerful blue energy attack collides with immense force, sending debris flying as Cecile, with her red hair, is caught in the wide, reaching impact. Blake, with a strained expression, fiercely pushes forward, unleashing more red energy beams. Blake's red hair is swept back as his golden eye glows with intense focus, channeling his power. At that moment, Blake, with a determined and strained expression, pushes through the intense blue energy, showing a fresh scratch on his arm. His arm is caught in the intense blue energy, showing visible damage from the powerful red impact. Blake's hair frames his face as his eyes glow intensely, showing his strained concentration during the powerful attack. Without warning, Blake watches Cecile, who stands calmly amidst four powerful, glowing blue energy blades. At that moment, Blake's back is turned, revealing a significant bleeding wound on his shoulder, with his shirt torn amidst the swirling blue energy. Moments later, Blake is heavily injured, his arm bleeding from a deep gash, as his golden eye still glows with residual power, showing his exhaustion and pain. Cecile delivers a swift, powerful kick, her hair blurring with the intense speed of her attack. After the intense clash, Blake is hunched over, visibly injured with blood on his arm, appearing exhausted and defeated. Blake's eyes glow with fierce intensity, his brow furrowed in extreme concentration as he pushes his limits. Moments later, Blake is violently thrown back by the powerful blue energy, sliding across the ground as the intense impact hits him. Intense blue energy streaks downward, creating multiple impacts as red energy erupts from the collision point, signifying a powerful ongoing clash. Engulfed in intense blue energy, Cecile's body is propelled forward, her clothes and hair flowing dramatically from the powerful force. Blake, with fierce, glowing eyes, pushes upwards, his body radiating red energy as he breaks through the blue streaks, determined to land a counter-attack. A powerful red energy blast strikes Ventus's chest, radiating intense light and impact as the struggle continues. Moments later, Blake unleashes a powerful burst of red energy, directly clashing with the opponent's intricate blue energy constructs. Then, Blake's eyes glow with fierce intensity as he unleashes a powerful red energy attack, pushing his limits in the ongoing clash. Cecile appears, her expression calm, amidst the lingering blue energy. The intense blue energy slams into John Doe's side, causing a violent impact that radiates with bright red streaks of force. Cecile manifests numerous glowing blue energy tendrils, striking downwards with immense force as a red, clad arm is seen from the impact. Blake is violently thrown back by the impact, his red hair and body blurring from the sheer force of the blue energy hitting him. Arlo leans in close with a subtle smirk as Serafina looks up, appearing surprised and flustered. Blake stands hunched over, clutching his side in pain. Blood streaks his arms and legs, showing the toll of the intense energy impact. Moments later, Blake, bloodied and enraged, glares fiercely with glowing eyes, clutching his injured side after the intense impact. Cecile smirks confidently, questioning why her team hasn't taken action yet. Blake's eyes glow with intense determination, his brow furrowed and face marked with sweat and faint injuries, showing his fierce resolve. At that moment, Blake's injured face, with blood dripping from his mouth and chin, highlights the severe pain he's enduring. Cecile, surrounded by glowing blue energy, declares she will end the conflict quickly, her expression resolute. He unleashes multiple powerful energy beams, slashing across the sandy terrain with fierce intensity. Blake grimaces, blood dripping from his mouth, as he appears to endure another powerful energy impact, clearly struggling. Without warning, Blake's face is grimacing in pain, blood dripping from his mouth as blue energy projectiles fly past, his eyes glowing with intensity. Arlo, Serafina, and the girls stand stunned, radiating lines suggesting they've been hit by a powerful, unseen force. Serafina stares intensely, her eyes narrowed in a stern, focused expression. She looks on with a wide-eyed, nervous expression, a bead of sweat forming on her cheek. Serafina looks up, her mouth slightly open, as her long purple hair with green streaks flows over her shoulder, reacting to an unseen event. She looks on with a shocked expression, her eyes wide and mouth slightly agape, clearly caught off guard. The girl helps support an injured Blake, who has blood on his arm and face, as Remy stands nearby, observing the scene. Blake stands injured, blood staining his mouth and arm, clearly exhausted, as Serafina stands nearby, her. Serafina looks on intently, her eyes focused, as Blake is visible beside her. She appears serious after the powerful impact. A beat later, Serafina watches seriously, her eyes focused intently on something unseen. The girl intently uses her ability, a green glow emanating from her hand, to heal Blake's painful abdominal wounds as he winces. Cecile looks forward with a confident, almost sly smirk under a clear blue sky. Arlo smiles, his arm around Serafina's shoulder, while Serafina looks back at him with a clearly annoyed expression. Moments later, Arlo's intense eyes peer out, his expression serious and focused on the unfolding events. Cecile high fives John Doe, their hands meeting with a forceful slap. The girl completes her high five with a smiling boy as their two companions watch with cheerful expressions. Moments later, the student looks intently, their eyes holding a serious expression. Cecile looks on with a confident, knowing smirk, her long silver hair flowing around her. A beat later, Cecile unleashes a powerful blue energy, radiating intensely from her as the match begins. He stands firm as blue energy swirls around him, activating his powerful ability. Cecile unleashes a wide, sweeping blue energy attack across the arena, forcing Arlo to confront it head-on. Arlo maintains his confident smirk, his eyes glowing with a subtle light, clearly ready for the upcoming match against Agwin's queen. Then, Arlo stands calmly with a confident smirk, his hands in his pockets, as his powerful blue energy barrier erupts, blocking an incoming force. Cecile activates her ability, a bright blue aura flaring around her as she faces the intense moment. Without warning, Cecile unleashes her ability, manifesting glowing blue tendrils from her back with an intense expression. A powerful jump propels someone forward, creating streaks of blue light as they make impact on the ground. Glowing blue tendrils surge upward against a bright blue sky, crisscrossed by radiating white lines, showing an intense burst of energy. He looks up, highlighted by the bright light and motion lines, reacting to an unseen event. Arlo raises a hand, palm forward, with a slight smirk on his face as his hair falls over his eyes, signaling a pause or halt. Cecile plunges downwards, her intense gaze fixed as her dark tendrils and blue energy propel her through the air. Arlo is caught in a powerful blue energy blast, his hand reaching out as he endures the intense impact from the attack. A massive burst of blue energy and dark lines dominates the panel, depicting the raw force of the ongoing impact as the powerful attack continues. Cecile shows a determined, pained expression, with cuts bleeding on her face as her eyes glow intensely amidst the battle's impact. A leg lands with a heavy impact, a fresh injury visible on the upper thigh as the powerful sequence continues. Then, Cecile stands, eyes closed, as glowing blue energy tendrils erupt from her, radiating outwards with immense power. A beat later, Cecile, now bearing red scratches on her face and chest, maintains a stern gaze as blue energy continues to surge around her. Arlo stands calmly, a faint smile on his face, even as blue energy swirls around him and Cecile, seemingly unfazed by the ongoing attack. At that moment, Arlo displays a subtle smirk, his expression hinting at confidence or defiance despite the ongoing intense situation. Cecile's face, marked with bloodied scratches, her eyes glowing with a fierce, determined expression amidst the blue energy. Arlo calmly approaches a new figure who stands surrounded by blue energy. The figure anxiously warns him not to come any closer. A beat later, Arlo remains unfazed, his hands in his pockets, as a girl with light hair unleashes a powerful blue energy blast directly towards him. Without warning, Arlo stands calmly as a light blue-haired girl unleashes a powerful blue energy blast, which is deflected by a shimmering barrier. A white-haired individual stands, marked with scratches on their arm and body, as blue energy surrounds them, seemingly deflecting incoming attacks. Moments later, Arlo's eyes glow intensely, reflecting the ongoing power, as a subtle, confident smirk plays on his lips. The two students walk forward, their footsteps subtly marked on the ground as they move away from the intense situation. Cecile grimaces, showing fresh bloodied scratches across her face and neck. Without warning, Cecile stands firmly, blue energy tentacles now fully extended from her back, as red scratches remain visible on her arms and legs. At that moment, Cecile glares intensely, her eyes glowing with resolve as fresh scratches mark her face and neck, blue energy tentacles still active behind her. Moments later, Cecile is now ensnared by blue energy tentacles, exclaiming she's trapped, as Arlo walks away, looking back over his shoulder. A sudden, forceful impact sends a bright flash of light exploding across the scene, indicating a powerful hit. A beat later, Cecile grimaces in pain, a fresh bleeding scratch visible below her glowing red eye as a bright flash appears. Without warning, Cecile stands powerfully, her blue energy tentacles fully extended as a bright aura surrounds her, with Arlo looking up from the foreground. At that moment, Cecile grimaces fiercely, her power now fully active with glowing eyes and fresh scratches. Cecile's blue energy tentacles lash out towards John Doe, who stands ready for the incoming attack. A beat later, Cecile retaliates, striking with a powerful surge of blue energy, her eyes burning with resolve. Arlo stands calmly, a confident smile on his face, as a bright aura surrounds him and blue energy attacks deflect around him. Moments later, Arlo smiles confidently, his eyes glowing intensely as his hand emanates a bright golden aura, signifying his power's full activation. Cecile grimaces in pain, blood streaming from her eyes and multiple deep gashes on her neck and chest, surrounded by blue energy spikes. Arlo looks down with a subtle smirk, his hair falling over his eyes as he seemingly contemplates something. Cecile grimaces fiercely, a fresh scratch visible on her chest as blue energy pulses around her. At that moment, Cecile's eyes burn with fierce resolve, her face showing fresh scratches as she braces for the incoming attack. Cecile's red eye glares fiercely, her face marked with scratches as she seethes with anger, uttering a harsh insult. Arlo narrowly dodges an attack from the injured Cecile, who is surrounded by pulsing blue energy and bleeding from her chest and leg. Without warning, Arlo's eyes glow with intensity, a subtle smirk playing on his lips as he looks sideways. Serafina's golden eye glows with fierce intensity as she reaches out, her hand poised to grab or counter an attack. Arlo fiercely chokes Cecile, who grimaces in pain with blood on her neck and scratches. Holden shouts desperately to Cecile, urging them to stop fighting as they've lost this one. Arlo holds Cecile tightly as powerful blue energy lashes out, striking her with intense force. Cecile, still heavily wounded, grips their own throat while a hand holds their wrist, their face contorted in agony. A furious Ventus yells at two startled companions, demanding to know what they are doing. Then, Cecile collapses, her face contorted in agony as blood streams from her eyes and neck wounds, clutching her chest. The girl looks on with a worried, frustrated expression, sweat visible on her face. Serafina calmly observes as the girl looks uneasy, while Blake glares intensely with a frustrated expression. A character with spiky teal hair yells furiously, while another individual with brown hair and a ponytail walks away, their face remaining obscured. John Doe desperately tries to hold back Cecile, whose body crackles with blue energy as a bright flash engulfs the area. Arlo's eyes glow intensely with power, looking stern as he focuses amidst the aftermath of the bright flash. A hand is raised with fingers spread, glowing brightly as if channeling an ability, following the engulfing flash. The student lunges forward with incredible speed, their arm outstretched amidst a bright flash of energy. Ventus grimaces, blood trickling from his mouth, as the intense struggle leaves him visibly battered amidst the flashing energy. Moments later, Ventus collapses to the ground, visibly struggling and flushed as bright energy radiates from the impact. Arlo looks down intently with a subtle smirk, his eyes gleaming as the bright light illuminates Cecile. Elaine grimaces intensely, her eyes narrowed in frustration, perspiration showing on